Morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. How's everybody's day going? How's everybody's week going? Hopefully, you're all doing well. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Real quick, folks, make sure you all hit that like button. It does really help out with the channel. Make sure you all are smacking those heart emojis at the bottom. That also helps with the channel. Share this channel out with everyone you know. If this is your first time tuning in, hit that subscribe button. Join in on the conversation. We are on the road to 900 subscribers, folks. So we're slowly but surely getting there. Of course, the ultimate goal is to get to 1,000. Once I get to that 1,000 subscriber mark, I'm going to be doing a couple of giveaways. This is a way of saying thank you. But I do appreciate every single one of you that are always tuning in and that are subscribed to this channel. It does mean the world to me. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's say what's up to the chat real quick. We got my guy Cold Italian Pizza in the building. How you doing? How you doing? What's going on? Stephen B, what's up? Jonathan, what's up? Ken, what is going on? Army Chow Man, what is up? What is up? How you doing? We have Nosebleed section in the building. How you doing, Nosebleed? Jack, how's it going? Izzy, what's going on, my guy? Joining us from the West Coast. We got a few West Coast folks in here. How you doing? John, how we doing, man? I saw it's your birthday. Happy birthday, and I do hope for your birthday the Yankees do end up winning today. Let me know how everything else is going in life, man. I know there was a little bit of some issues yesterday. Let me know how you're doing with that. Hopefully everything is okay. Everything is better. All right, we're thinking of you, man. Dev Finch, what's up, Dev? How you doing? What's going on? We got Joe in the building. What's up, Joe? How's it going? Who else we got in the chat? We got my boy Merc So Saucy in the building. What's up, bro? How you doing? Yeah, we're gonna get to the game last night. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. It was a disgraceful loss. It was just disgraceful. There's really nothing else to say. It was just disgraceful. It was embarrassing. I mean, worst team of baseball. I mean, come on. You know, you gotta win. You gotta win. You gotta sweep. I mean, a lot of us Yankees fans, I'm sure we had the same thought that they had to sweep. So, but they are not going to sweep clearly because they lost last night. They got demolished. But we're going to get back to that here. We're going to talk about that momentarily. This comment here. Mom back from the hospital. She has the COVID. All right, I was with her. All right, I got you, man. Well, keep us updated, man. We're thinking of you. We're thinking of you, okay? So everybody send your positive vibes, prayers, thoughts, positive thoughts to John and for his mother. So we're thinking of you there, bud. What's up, Jacob? How you doing? My guy Jacob, I was listening to you on the Twitter Spaces a little bit. He's always killing it on the Twitter Spaces. Hopefully you're doing well there, buddy. And we got my boy Rodney Green. What's up, Rodney? How we doing? How we doing? What is going on? What's up? How's it going? But again, shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure you all hit that like button, hit that subscribe, share this channel out. Make sure you all are smacking those heart emojis. It does really help out with the channel. All right. And if you're watching this on X, come over to YouTube. Join in on the conversation, hit that subscribe button, join in on the conversation. We have a good time here. So, hopefully you're all doing well. And we got my boy Timothy Taft. It's my first time seeing you. I'm sure you've been a subscriber, but it's my first time seeing you in the chat. But shout out to you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Jason Dominguez. So it doesn't sound like the way Cashman talked about it doesn't sound like he's going to get called up. It doesn't sound like Jason Dominguez, like there's no Cashman said there's no lane for him right now. That's what Cashman was saying. So it doesn't sound like he's going to get called up, but you never know. Things can change. My boy Damian Serrano in the building. What's up, Mr. Fly Guy himself? What is up, Egyptian magician? What's up? What's up? How's it going? But shout out to everybody in the chat. We got quite a few people in the chat. Appreciate you all tuning in. So many folks popping in, man. What is going on, everyone? What is going on? But yeah, Merc So Saucy. Jazz got hurt last night. Had something to do with his elbow. Sounds like the X-rays came back negative, but I'm sure we'll hear some more news as far as the severity of his injury. Hopefully, it's nothing serious. But again, the X-rays came back negative. It sounded like he was in good spirits, though. That's that. At least that's what Aaron Boone was saying. All right, so that's the news right now as far as he goes. Yeah, so you'll probably see Oswaldo Cabrera get more playing time at third base. I mean, you would hope so, or Ben Rice. Yeah, cold Italian pizza. Yankees pitching is a major concern right now. And it is a major concern, right? The pitching has been a major concern, and I'm glad you brought this up because of the fact that, just to give you some stats here, right? The Yankees have allowed, in the last 6 games, they have allowed 45 runs, and they've allowed 7+ runs in the last 5 games. So pitching is a problem. Pitching has been a problem. So it's not good. It's not good. They allowed 9 extra base hits last night, and that's the second most in this season. The last time they allowed that many or more was June 20th against the Orioles. This is the 4th time this season they've allowed 12+ runs. They've allowed 8+ hits in 16 straight games. So listen, yeah, pitching is a problem. Pitching is a problem. Last night's game was unacceptable. All right. Last night's game was unacceptable. Nothing went right with last night's game. Okay. Nothing went right. Luis Hill, he was not all there. His game was off. All right. We were expecting a great performance, a great outing by Luis Hill, but he went 4 innings, gave up 4 runs, struck out 3, walked 2. Tim Hill came in after that. He pitched a couple of innings. He only gave up a run. And then De Los Santos, who the Yankees acquired at the trade deadline, gave up 7 runs. I mean, it was piss poor. And holy crap, I got a special guest in the back. Didn't expect him, but ready to go, bro? All right, I got you. We got my boy Stewart from Pinstripe Chronicles. What's up, man?
I didn't want you to go through this alone, bro. I didn't want you to go through this alone.
I could handle it.
It's tough sledding right now. So I just thought I'd to check in. How are you feeling after yesterday?
I mean, that game was crap. It was garbage. It was just absolute garbage. I mean, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was just, when I was doing the pregame yesterday, a lot of, I was saying it. A lot of the folks in the chat were saying it. I'm sure other content creators were saying it. Other fans were saying it. I mean, this was a team that should have been swept. That a sweep needed to happen. This is the worst team in all of baseball. And that, I don't know, yesterday's performance was piss poor. And it was just like, that shouldn't have gone down. That should have never went down. I don't know if you heard me read the stats. I don't know how much of the conversation you caught.
I just nipped in, so I do want to hear these stats.
Okay. So because Cold Italian Pizza brought up the fact that the pitching has been an issue, which it has been. So 45 runs allowed in the last 6 games by the Yankees. 7+ runs in the last 5 games. 9 extra base hits allowed yesterday. That was the second most hits allowed this season. The last time that happened was June 20th versus the Orioles. And this is the 4th time this season where they've allowed 12+ runs. And they've allowed 8+ hits in 16 straight games. I mean,
it's the pitching.
Pitching is bad. Pitching is bad. The offense, I mean, at one point I was saying that the offense was terrible because they weren't hitting They weren't scoring with runners in scoring position. But right now, it's like the offense is hitting. The Yankees are hitting, but they can't seem to score with runners in scoring position. They left like 20 runners on base?
Oh, it's pathetic.
It was
Absolutely pathetic. They were,
it
what, 2
was
for 18 runners in scoring position?
yeah, I think it was something along those lines. Yeah, it was like 2 for 18. Uh yeah, it was pretty piss poor, man. But I want to get your thoughts, right? Like I'm not happy with the performance last night. I'm not gonna go yell and go get angry or whatever and lose my voice over it because it ain't gonna do nothing. I mean, last night's game was piss poor. I mean, yeah, this team is over 20 games over 500, and they still they do need some of their reinforcements back desperately, especially with the pitching side. So,
I mean, what can it really add, though? Our bullpen's a mess.
right.
I mean, Hamilton would definitely improve the situation. Birdie would definitely help. But, I mean, none of them are automatic. Like, oh, wow, like they're going to be our next closer kind of a situation. We don't really have a closer, and that's a big problem. We don't really have, like, a go-to setup man either. That's another problem. I think our bullpen's a massive concern of mine. It really is, and I think that's partly why we've been giving up so many runs. I don't think Boone trusts our bullpen either. De Los Santos was a terrible trade deal, such an abysmal trade.
Yeah.
The Padres tried to get rid of him. The fans hated him in San Diego. That's a pretty chilled fan base over there in California, so they didn't like him. So that was a failed deal. He's a horrible, horrible pitcher. Yeah, he's got a fastball, but he can't locate it. He's all over the place. So there's a problem there, man. I like Leiter, though. I do like Leiter. And I like Weaver. I even like Cousins. I think Cousins has got a really vicious slider. I really like his slider. But are any of these names that you're going to be like, oh, absolutely guaranteed we're going to be in good shape going into October? I don't think so. And Clay Holmes doesn't miss any bats either. So for me, the bullpen's our biggest problem. Our starting rotation, I think is fine. Luis Gil, that's a rare off night for him. Normally, he's much better than that. So I'm not going to look too much into that. Garrett Cole, fine. Rodon's been much better lately. Stroman is, I mean, almost traditionally he struggles second half of the year. Like traditionally he does. But he had a decent start last start. Maybe that changes things for him. But really, I think the biggest problem right now is our bullpen.
Yeah, the bullpen's an issue. I mean, I know you said Luke Weaver, Jack Leiter Jr., Mark Leiter Jr. Sorry. Weaver had an off. He had an off game on Saturday when he got brought in when after they took Garrett Cole out. But the bullpen is overworked too. I mean, let's be honest. They had they had 2 double headers last week, so. One against the Angels, the other one against the Texas Rangers. And that bullpen is, they're pretty burnt out. I mean, that's why they stuck with De Los Santos for as long as they did, because the rest of their arms were just like they were burned out. They got used in those double headers. And you couldn't get really hardly anything from the starters. I mean, although Marcus Stroman pitched himself a good game. He's in SoCal. De Los Santos has I
agree.
Izzy knows. Izzy lives in California, so he knows. But
absolutely agree.
Yeah. Yanks are a feast or famine team at this point. I mean, yeah, like I said, the bullpen is they are a little bit burnt out. They've been used a lot. Again, especially because of the fact that they had, 2 double headers last week, which, I mean, that'll burn out any team really. 1 double header is bad enough, but when you have 2 in the same week, man, it could be bad. Weaver, you mentioned the bullpen. Luke Weaver, he's been a bright spot out of that bullpen, but he had an off game on Saturday when he gave up those 4 or 5, or I believe it was 5 runs against the Rangers. I mean, it happens. It happens. He's
Been overworked though. He's been overworked.
He has been overworked. I'm
it's
not
because they don't. I think it's because partly doesn't trust his bullpen, so he's having to overuse him like Joe Torre did with Flash Gordon and Tanyan starts. It's just that I think Weaver is one of those guys that he trusts because there isn't a lot of them out there in that bullpen. It's a no-name bullpen, and sometimes it's worked out, but there's times where it just blows up in our face. I think Cashman should have done more at the deadline. De Los Santos was the big issue. I don't understand why they made that deal. You couldn't have found a lefty that could get some outs. You know what I'm saying? Like, we needed a lefty reliever out of the bullpen. You didn't get one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure they explored, as far as the lefty arms go, I'm sure they explored AJ Puck, but obviously he got traded to the Diamondbacks. I mean, I don't know if the
Yankees too expensive. That's asking for is just crazy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So,
well, you couldn't have found like even a solid lefty reliever out there. I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that you couldn't have found a lefty reliever out there. So I think that was a mistake because De Los Santos has no business being here.
Yeah, the De Los Santos thing, it didn't make a lot of sense to me, but the thing is, there wasn't really a lot to choose from as far as the trade deadline goes in terms of pitching. I mean, I wasn't going to give up a bunch of prospects for a rental for like Tanner Scott. I wasn't, or even Jack Flaherty. I mean, although Jack Flaherty, it sounds like the Yankees didn't go after him because of medical records, but I don't know.
I hate that Flaherty deal, man, personally, because the deal was in place. Mm-hmm. It was done. It was locked and loaded. The deal was in place, and then Cashman backed out in the last minute because he didn't like the medicals, and then tried to take some prospects out and then renegotiate it, and then at that point, they moved on. So, for me, that's a mistake. For me, that is a mistake.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, there wasn't, as far as bullpen arms, there wasn't really a whole lot of to pick from. I mean, there was only very few. Depends on what the teams were asking for from the Yankees too. We don't know what the teams were asking for. We don't know what other names they explored. But I know they were probably in on Tanner Scott. But
they were in on a lot of guys.
Yeah, they were in on a lot of guys, but they also have a bunch of guys coming back from injury, hopefully. I mean, and if these guys come back, I mean, hopefully this bullpen could improve, especially with Ian Hamilton, Nick Burdi. That's been a guy that's been missing in action. When Nick Burdi's pitching, he's good. Efros, I'm not too sure about him. I mean, he hasn't pitched in over a couple of years now. So I know he's struggling down there.
He is.
So the bullpen is there is a little bit of an issue with the bullpen, but I believe that they have been burnt out. And again, going back to yesterday's game, man, not great.
Does it affect your feeling toward the team? Does it affect, like, for instance, your thoughts on their ceiling moving forward after that loss yesterday?
I think they'll bounce back from it, but it depends on what version of the Yankees show up. Because it's like, you got Nestor Cortez pitching tonight. So which version of Nestor are we getting? Right? Because Nestor, when he's on, but when he's off, he's way off. And Nestor Cortez is he was the big question mark for me going into the season when it came to the starting rotation. He was the big question mark for me. Everybody was talking about Rodon. Not for me. It's been Nestor, and it shows why. It shows why. You saw him in that game against the Angels, his last outing. That was an ugly outing. I don't know. I mean, who knows what you're going to get from him tonight? I mean, for his sake, I hope he pitches well tonight. As far as the bats go, I mean, the bats, it's either, it's one extreme or the other.
Feast or famine. Yeah, it's a feast or famine.
Yeah, it's a feast or famine, like somebody was saying. They either are just getting hits, getting those runs, playing smart baseball, hitting those home runs, getting those timely hits, or it's like they just forgot how to hit all of a sudden. I think this team is a good team, but I think I don't know. I don't know if there's some games where they're overthinking it or they're playing to the level of their competition. I don't know. But yesterday, I feel like I don't know what happened yesterday. I feel like yesterday was an absolute fluke
That
of a
was a
game.
disgrace. I don't think it was a fluke because look
Yeah,
at what's been going on the last 7 weeks, man. And
yeah,
even over this recent stretch, which was apparently our easy stretch, we're only playing 500 ball.
yeah. But it's just not making sense. But it's just not making sense. Why from yesterday's game just doesn't make sense at all because again the White Sox worst team in all of baseball. You expect the Yankees to you know run over them, right? This should be a series that they should sweep, but they swept the Phillies right a few weeks ago, and the Phillies are one of the best teams in all of baseball. I mean, none of us fans expected that. I mean, we expected maybe 2 out of 3 if they won 1 out of 3, I wouldn't have been surprised, but they swept the Phillies and then they lost to the White Sox last night. I don't
I mean,
know.
here's something crazy. The White Sox have won
Yeah,
2 of their last 29 games.
right.
They're not just one of the worst teams in baseball. They're not just that. They're not just the worst team in baseball, flat out. They're one of the worst teams in history of baseball. When you lose 21 straight games, you're one of the worst teams in the history of baseball. They have nothing. They have nothing. Who was it they sent to the mound yesterday? He got like a 7 ERA against us. And he had loaded the bases on a constant basis and we couldn't do anything. I mean, it's actually flat out a disgrace. And it really speaks to the organization, Aaron Boone, the managers, and just in general, I really think that this team folded yesterday
Oh, they did.
against one of the
I mean,
worst
they
teams
did.
against one of the worst teams in the history of the sport. So FJ says here the White Sox are expected to lose more games than the 1962 Mets. They are.
Yeah,
They're certainly at the moment one of the worst teams in history. They could go down as the worst team in history. So to get blown out, not just beaten, but blown the freak out is an
yeah,
embarrassment. It really affects the aura of the Yankees. This is the freaking big bad Yankees going to town, and then they get blown out by one of the worst teams in the history of the sport. This is a team that's competing for October. This is a team that apparently is all in on a World Series. You get beaten by one of the worst teams in the history of the sport, and not just beaten, blown your balls off. I mean, that's an embarrassment. They should all be ashamed of themselves. And to be honest, I would have liked to have seen an apology from Aaron Boone. I would have liked to have seen something, some kind of accountability afterwards. Going, that's not us. That's not what the Yankees are about. But he didn't. He was just sort of like, oh, I thought the Mets were pretty good. Yeah, frickin' break.
yeah. He's not. I mean, Boone is not going to really say much to the media, and honestly, when it comes to the media, I don't want to give them too much ammo because the media will run with stories and just try to create more controversy. Who knows what goes on in the back? I mean, we don't know for sure, but last night's game. I mean, it's not the first time, but the fact that it matter is the fact that it happened with the White Sox. That's what I'm more upset about. Other teams that it happened with, I wasn't really as upset about it.
Salute, Jacob. How are you?
Yeah, Jacob was in here earlier, but the fact that it happened in other games, I wasn't as upset. Like it happened with the Orioles, it happened with with some of the other teams. I wasn't really as upset. But the White Sox, I was like, oh, come on, guys, like this can't happen. And real quick, shout out to my guy Rodney Green for the $5 super chat. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for your support. And let me know how your new job is going, man. I know you said you had a new job. You landed a new job. but he says it's just right there in front of us.
That's right. Aaron Boone's favorite.
Well, I mean, I know people like to give Boone a hard time about it's just there in front of us, but I mean, he's not wrong. Okay, I mean,
Oh
he's not wrong.
no! Don't you do that?
No, 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 no. Let me explain something. Let me explain something. He's not wrong. I mean, but to say the same thing over and over again, yeah, it gets old. But
For 3
he's
years.
but the team's got to go out. The thing is, the team's got to go out there and perform. They have to go out there and perform. I mean, Aaron Boone, yeah, he does. Look, I've said this before about Aaron Boone, and because there's been certain people who like to put words in my mouth, but I'm going to say this, and I've said this over and over again. I don't think he's a great manager.
Oh no.
I think he's a I think he's a good manager. He has a poor playoff resume, no doubt. I don't deny that. But I mean, the guy does have a winning percentage that is over 500. It's not like he got there by accident. There are things that he does need to improve on. I will not deny that. There are areas that I don't always agree with his decisions. I do question his decisions sometimes. All right, but the the reason why I defend him to some extent is because he never really had the team when he became the manager of the New York Yankees, if that makes sense. I think this is the best team that he's had so far um, as a manager. I mean, comparatively,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of folks talk about Joe Girardi, right? A lot of folks talk about Joe Torre. I'm not saying those two guys were bad managers; they were great managers, but they also came into a team. They also, I don't want to say adopted a team, but they got brought in and they had a team. They had a team in front of them, like that were full of superstars, right? Especially Torre. He had I mean, people say core four. I say core five because I don't like the fact that they leave out Bernie. That pisses me off. But he had that team, but he did very well with them. I mean, if it was any other manager, I don't know if they would have done as well. Joe Girardi, he had the core four, and then 2009 they added to it. So he had a team where Boone didn't exactly have that when he was hired on in 18. Like there was pieces that there was a couple of guys that were good and they needed to build on that, but they just didn't build on it. I You could tell me I'm wrong. You could disagree. That's fine. But that's my take on it.
Well, here's my issue with Aaron Boone.
Mm-hmm.
My issue with Aaron Boone is that he allows kind of a relaxed attitude to permeate throughout the locker room. There isn't much accountability. There isn't much, right? Um, and they look a little bit unprepared at times. There's times where they don't do the fundamentals right. They throw to the wrong base. Their base running's all over the place. That seems to be a constant thing. They just don't look very prepared, and that's been an issue with him for years. It's not just been this year; it's been going on for years. There's been an issue with that for years. An issue of people not really performing to the best of their ability, maybe even not developing. He had Gary Sanchez and he did nothing with him. He's had Gleyber Torres and he's done nothing with him. So players haven't really developed too well under him because
Yeah.
I mean, when you've got such a kind of I know this is asked from Brian Cashman, so it's not all Aaron Boone. Brian Cashman wants his manager to do this, but when you have this manager that coddles players all the time, it gets a repetitive and b that there's no accountability or recourse for terrible performances. So I mean, when you look back at Gleyber Torres dropping that pop up because he lazily went over there and was just like, this is earlier in the year, or when Grisham, who I like, just wandered over to the ball and took his time and there's another runner that ran over to scoring position because he didn't bother to throw the ball to second base. That kind of laziness and attitude has been going on not just this year but for years and years and years, and he accepts it and he's totally okay with it. Like, what about when Aaron Hicks? This is why I've got the Aaron Hicks Award for my show. Just when he dropped the ball and just stared at it and watched it like it was like an alien from outer space. and
Yeah.
people were running around the bases like nothing on earth. And he was just staring at it, and he was like, "Oh." And this was actually a really important game. It was like a pennant game. It was a game that was vital to us winning the division, going to the playoffs. And he was just like, eh. And then Aaron Boone did pull him, but excused him afterwards. And he's excused him. Glaber felt bad about it, or Aaron Hicks felt bad about it. It's when you do that, that's when problems arrive. So, excuse me, my phone's ringing.
You're good.
But that's what problems are. That's when problems arrive. When you've got a really like relaxed locker room that's just like. So I think that's an Aaron Boone issue. As for comparing different managers, I would say, well, the thing about Joe Torre is he had this air about him, although he was similarly like, in terms of he wanted his players to be professionals and to manage themselves. And but he kind of was like a grandfather type where he would be overseeing them. And if they pissed him off, he'd let them know about it.
Yeah.
And they were afraid to piss him off. They didn't want to piss Joe Torre off, right? So he had that respect, and that helped galvanize the locker room. It helped make sure that there was accountability and things like that. And he held people accountable. Maybe not like rah-rah kind of stuff, but he still held people accountable. And then when you get to Joe Girardi, obviously, the 2019 was one of the greatest teams ever. I mean,
That was a great team. Yeah.
Wouldn't have taken much to win a World Series with that team. Of course, he did that. But I have to be honest, that 2017 team that he got to within a hair's breadth of a World Series, that team had no business being that far. And he got
that
them
was during Girardi's time too. So
that's right, but he got them there. He
did.
coached them really well. He managed them really well. All right, they didn't like him that much because he wasn't playing. He wasn't their friend, but he's not supposed to be their friend. He's supposed to be their manager. And did it help? Yeah. He saw the best of Gary Sanchez. He saw the best of these young guys. Their young guys came through, and they were all doing very, very well under him. And then when you bring in Aaron Boone, who's never had any managerial experience, it's actually a learning curve for Aaron Boone. Not a learning curve for anyone else. It's a learning curve for Aaron Boone because he had to figure out how to be a manager. While they had expectations to be a really good team. Plus, don't forget, in 2018, they acquired Giancarlo Stanton, who's just coming off an MVP and 59 home runs. So when you have that, and he was in his prime back then, that team was ready locked and ready for action, and he didn't get the most out of them. And that's been a prevailing issue with Aaron Boone. He gets okay results during the regular season, although to be honest, this has been like 3 years now straight of complete collapses. Second half of the year, that's a thing with Aaron Boone. 3 straight years now, we completely collapsed second half of the year. So that's my issues with Aaron Boone.
No, I got you. My thing, again, I'm not. Like I said, I don't think, as I said, I don't think he's a great manager. He's got his good qualities, but he's definitely has some bad qualities too about him. I don't always agree with his decisions, but I mean, for a guy who's never managed, I mean, he has taken a team to the playoffs in 18, 19. I'm not going to count 20 because that year I don't even count it. He took him in 21, 22, but yeah, it didn't result into anything. I mean, like I said, his playoff resume isn't great. As far as him being too lackadaisical, it does seem that way, but I feel like if this team was if it was as lackadaisical as it was, I don't think the record would be what it is either. I mean, maybe you could call the record a fluke then, if that's the case. The other thing too is just, with holding people accountable and disciplining, which, a lot of fans really like that about Joe Girardi, but I don't mean to keep going back to the past, but, the thing is, it's like he got that World Series in 2009. After that, never got a World Series again. He took the team to the playoffs in some of those years, and he held players accountable. He disciplined them, got in their face, but unfortunately that never resulted into anything. And sometimes he couldn't get production out of the team that he had. So, the same thing. I'm not a Joe Torre. I love Joe Torre. I love Joe Torre. Joe Torre's the man, but he didn't win a World Series either from '01 to '07, right? He took him to the World Series a couple of those years. They lost.
I'll take that. I'll take that over what we're doing.
I'll take that over what we're doing too. But I'm saying though, he was that guy. He had that aura that mess around and find out. But unfortunately, in those years, especially '01, '03, man, those hurt. They should have won. '04.
Oh yeah, 2003. There's no excuse for losing the World Series there.
Yeah, '04.
'01, that was just bad luck. Mariano Rivera blew a save that would never happen normally.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, even 2004. But I mean, a lot of it was because the Brian Cashman allowed Andy Pettitte to walk, and then he brought in Kevin Brown, and then he signed traded for Javier Vazquez twice. It's an absolute dumpster fire. So there's not a lot Joe Torre could have done when you have the worst pitching ever.
This is what I'm saying, though. So I mean, it's just you go back to Boone again. I'm not saying he's a great manager. I don't always agree with his decisions, but he didn't always have the best teams around him. He had a few guys that played well, but he never had this like superstar studded team until this season, where you have Judge and Soto back to back. You have your generational player. Like he's never really had like a core of guys like that, So
yeah, I mean, this is the best team. This is by far his best team.
By far the best team he's ever had, and he's done the best he can with the teams he's had. But there was always something missing on that team under his watch. It's just always been that way. Whether that was a lack of availability during free agent players, or the Yankees didn't want to pony up some of that money to free agents, whatever the case was. But this is where I don't want to completely crap on Boone, because he's not I don't think he's the worst manager out there, but he's not the best. I'll say that. So
he gets outmanaged a lot.
Huh?
He gets outmanaged a lot.
He does, and there's games where he does get outmanaged, and it's frustrating to watch. But look,
as far as his ex-bench coach Mendoza completely outmanaged him. You got swept by the Mets, for crying out loud. That's an embarrassment.
Yeah. Well, I feel more embarrassed.
That game where they got blown out. What was it, like 11-2 or 12-2? I was furious.
Yeah, you were there.
I was pissed.
Yeah. Well, I was honestly more upset about losing to the White Sox yesterday than the Mets. I'll be honest with you, but
yeah, definitely, because the Mets have some good players. They've got a good team. This is one of the worst White Sox teams of all time.
Oh, for sure. And shout out to my guy Ken. Real quick, folks, make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe. Support the channel. We are on the road to 900, folks.
Wow.
On the road to 900 subscribers. So, thank you. Slowly but surely climbing up there. And make sure you all subscribe to the Pinstripe Chronicles. They're on their way to 800. So let's get those guys up there, folks. If you aren't subscribed to their channel, and feel free to drop the the link to the channel, man, so the folks can go over.
Yes, I will do that just now.
Yeah. Go ahead and do it. But I want to see this comment from Ray. He's saying Boone isn't great, but by no means is he the biggest problem with the teams he's had. This is what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't always given the best team, and this is where, I put some of that blame on the front office, because it's like you're not giving the man a team. So it's all connected. It goes both ways. And honestly, it's like, look, the players go out there and they have to go out and perform, right? These guys are getting paid millions of dollars to go play a sport and go out there and do their job. And there's only, in my opinion, there's only so much a manager or a coach can do. You got to go out there and perform. You're getting paid to do something, to perform well. And folks, that's the link right there. So Donald put it in there. So yeah, if y'all aren't subscribed, go subscribe. Go subscribe. Go support him.
We do a show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. And at the end of each series, I have my awards segment where I go through the best and the worst of the series for
Yep.
each guy.
Yeah, it's a good time. Hey, it's Donald, Uncle Tats, Rob. Three solid guys. So, go check them out, folks. So, yeah.
But you're spot on about the fact that maybe we should be holding the front office more accountable. As we've already pointed out, they don't really have a bullpen. Thank you, Rodney. Appreciate it, my man. As I say,
Oh,
we
thank
won't
you.
really have much of a bullpen, so I can't really blame Boone for that either. So you've
Right.
got a point there, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's things that the front office could do better, but also, there's also, again, the players need to go out and perform. I mean, there's only so much a manager and coaches can do. There's only so much, man. I mean, me being it's like the same thing with, with what I do with coaching, right? I mean, I could show you, I could tell you how to do things. I can tell you what to do, but if you're not doing it, right, again, I'll do my part. I'll help you out. But if it's not translating, though, I mean, maybe it's me, maybe it's you. I don't know. It's just like in the fight world. They train hard. For a fight, they get ready for a fight. But sometimes they go out there, they do not perform to the best of their abilities. And my boy D-Rod has escaped the closet. All right, he is here today. So if D-Rod's not here, we're thinking he's locked up in the closet. So but he's here. So my boy D-Rod.
He's out. But, he's free.
Yeah, but I wanted to have that analogy too, man, because
Salute Desiree, good to see you.
Who was that? Oh, Desiree. Yeah, Desiree. She's cool. John the Beagle dad. It's his birthday today, so hopefully the Yankees win on his birthday. Hopefully
Happy birthday, man.
Yeah. And Woolstar, my boy Woolstar in the building. Man, we got a lot of folks in the building. Shout out to all of you.
Everyone's pissed.
Yeah, everybody's pissed. I'm looking at the comments and everybody's angry, and you all have a right to be angry. We are all in denial if we think this team's winning anything. This team is soft. Still over 40 games left. I mean, last night's game, yeah, definitely left a bad taste in my mouth. And yes, I know team sports are different than individual sports, but still, with team sports, I'm just saying the players get paid millions of dollars to go out there and play, man. They got, there's only so much manager or coaches can do because they're not going out there to play. These guys are. So I'm just saying. So even go ahead.
We've got the not so nasty Nestor on the mound tonight, right? Over his last 7 games, he's 1-4 with a 7.50 ERA. 46 hits allowed in just 33 innings. 28 earned runs and just 7 stars. 28 earned runs and 7 stars. What are your thoughts on Nestor Cortes? Will he implode in this game just like he has over his last 7?
It's funny. I every time there's been a few shows that I've done where I don't want to say I'm blasting Nestor, but I am critical of him. But I'll say, like, right now, if I say that Nestor's probably going to have a bad game just based on his past performances, watch him go out and pitch a gem. You know what I mean? Based on those numbers, though, I would say those numbers aren't looking good. I don't know what version of Nestor we're gonna get. I have no idea. But his last starts, man, has just been bad, and I don't just based on how yesterday's performance was. I mean, he could go out and have a bad outing. He could go out and have a bad game. I mean, can we depend on him to go 5-6 innings? I'm asking.
No.
Okay. Well,
the thing with Cortes is what pitch actually is major league level? He doesn't really throw anything that's actually good. He throws a fastball, which is high. Everything he throws is high in the zone, and gets tattooed because there's not much velo to it. There's not much movement to it. There's no he does that stupid herky jerky stuff. I'm so sick of those stupid herky jerky motions that he does. It doesn't work because his pitches still suck.
Yeah.
So I mean, Clark Schmidt can't come back soon enough, man. He's due
Yeah.
back at the end of August, and that is where we could blessedly move on from Nestor Cortez and put him in the bullpen where he needs to be.
I think Schmidt should be back actually. I think they're saying like first, second week of September. I thought that's what I read last, but I could be wrong.
Right.
So, but either way, but he's needed in this rotation desperately. They keep a lot of folks are expecting Nestor Cortez from 2022 to return, but that version of Nestor is gone. And Ken says it will be a miracle if Cortez makes it out of the fourth inning. I agree.
A miracle.
I'd be
The White Sox. The good news is the White Sox have nothing. Even though they scored 12 runs yesterday, that's the first time they've had double figures all year, apart from one other time. They've only had scored double figures in runs twice this season, and one of them came yesterday. So I'm not expecting them to put up a big run total because they don't have anything. The White Sox are a horrible team. So it still amazes me that we managed to give up 12 runs yesterday because they've got a horrible team.
Unless if the White Sox just suddenly woke up and said, "Oh, the Yankees are coming into town, let's pour it on them," But I don't know, man. Are the Yankees playing to the level of their competition?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think you said it in one.
I mean,
over the last couple months, they've not played well. So I'm not surprised that yesterday happened. I'm enraged, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, people have been.
It's mortifying.
Yeah, it is mortifying. It's Oh, it really is. Yeah. The thing is, though, it's like the Boone's job. I mean, a lot of people, because I've had folks say, they want, obviously a lot of people want Boone gone. I mean, they do want Aaron Boone gone, but it really does depend on what happens after the season. It's all contingent on that. And real quick, we got Mr. Barros in the building. What's up, Mr. Barros? That is Rob's dad. What's up, Mr. Barros? What a disgrace last night. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we've been talking about, Mr. Barros, this whole entire time.
Literally disgusting.
Yeah, but
Boone, I was like that meme in Succession where Brian Cox just kept shouting, "Fuck off! Fuck off!" That was me last night watching that game. Just like, fuck off.
Yeah. Well, John, I hope the Yankees win on your birthday, and if they do win, make sure you get 3 birthday cakes, dude, because it'll be worth it. But no, look, Boone, I think this is his last year on his contract. He does have a 2025 option, but he knows that this is a do or die year. So this is it's all eyes on him.
I like Rob Saxon's point here. I will never agree. A great coach makes a difference. I heard the same argument about Alabama football, basketball. Then they got Saban. And it's why would you ever fire a coach or have one? Well, I do agree that obviously baseball is different from football in terms of expectations and what they're asking from a manager and stuff. But I mean, just look at what Cora is doing with the Red Sox. I mean, that Red Sox team, it's got Devers, who's awesome, and then they got guys like Rafael and a couple of decent squad players and role players, but he's got them playing really well and playing really hard. And he has them doing drills. I will listen to an interview with him. He has them doing drills. He has them prepared. Every single game they go into, they are prepared. They are ready to go. And you can see that in the way that they play. So I do think that a manager makes a difference. Look at what Mendoza is doing with the Mets.
Right.
They've started off horribly, but he figured out something to unlock Lindor, and no one's managed to unlock Lindor to this point until he did by moving him to the top of the order, and now Lindor is an absolute machine. So to be fair to him, he's managed to unlock something, and he's getting something more out of the Mets. Now, what has Aaron Boone done? Who has Aaron Boone unlocked? I that's my question. Who has Aaron Boone unlocked? He has had the world of talent at his disposal. Who has he unlocked? Juan Soto is one of the greatest players of a generation. He doesn't need to unlock him. Aaron Judge is one of the greatest players of a generation. Doesn't need to unlock him. All right, who else? That's what I'm saying. Who else?
I got you. And poor Sierra, she was at the game last night and had to witness that debacle in person. I'm sorry, Sierra. I really am. That sucks, man. But as far as the
Sierra was there in person.
yeah.
Oh,
But talking about what Rob Saxon was saying about great coaches. I mean, again, it goes back. They also had a great manager in Joe Torre, right? And they did. Joe Torre was the man. But again, they didn't win a World Series from 01 to 07. And he's a great manager. These things happen. So, and they didn't win. And it's the same thing with Joe Girardi. I think he was a great manager. He only won the one from 2010 to 2017. Didn't win a championship. It happens, right? So sometimes, there's only so much a manager or a coach can do. That's my argument. And you could disagree with me. That's fine. That's fine. I understand where you're coming from, Rob. But even under a great coach or a great manager, some teams don't win. Dusty Baker is another great manager. There's been a lot of years where whatever team he managed, they didn't win. They didn't win championships. I mean, same thing could be said about the Dodgers manager, right? Roberts. He's been managing that team for a long time. They got a World Series in 2020. I don't count that year, but all those other years, I mean, they've choked.
I don't think he's a good manager either. I don't think he's great.
Well, I mean,
look at that team that they have. I mean, oh my God, Uncle Tats could manage that to a jam.
Where is Uncle Tats?
Probably working.
Oh, I thought he might be out fishing, but
he'd manage that Dodgers team to a championship easy.
But yeah, again, sometimes you under a good manager, a good coach, sometimes just teams don't win. It happens. So it's just us Yankees fans, man. It's just we've gotten spoiled with the championships. And I know you witnessed it. I know I witnessed it. We witnessed those that. And again, I'm not trying to go back to the past, but we got that 90s dynasty, right? 96, 98, 99, and they got it in 2000. We saw that. I know I was a young kid when I witnessed it. And then they had that championship in 2009. But, and fans that are older than us that have watched this team way longer than you and I have, I mean, they've seen a lot of championships, but it's just fans got spoiled. And the expectation is that the team is supposed to win every single season. It's not always the case, unfortunately. So
no, it's not realistic.
Yeah, it's not realistic. So
there will never be another team like the Yankee dynasty in the 90s. I mean, just the way that there's a lot more parity in the league now, and with the luxury tax and the cooling tax and all these taxes and things like that, it makes it more difficult to build super teams and etc. So I don't think you're going to see a situation like we had with that dynasty, and it was a wonderful time. It was just a wonderful time. It was just the perfect mix of management and accountability, and just a dream cast of talent that all kind of grew up together and all had that same winning mentality. Like Derek Jeter, Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams all had that same mentality. Jorge Posada.
Yeah.
Jeter would maybe be good cop to Jorge Posada's bad cop, and it worked in a locker room. They had that nucleus. And then you bring in like Tino Martinez from Seattle, and he was just a man. And then you have David Cohn, who's just the ultimate Warrior on the mound, and along with Andy Pettit, El Duque, Roger Clemens after David Wells. Jesus Christ, that just
Yeah,
what a time it was.
yeah, it was a different time, different team. And like Ken was saying, Ken says it here. He's like, yeah, we older fans have seen plenty of championships, and we've seen plenty of drought time too. You're damn right you have, because the 80s, a debacle. I mean, shoot, they won a World Series in '78, didn't win another one until '96. So I can't imagine how some of the older fans felt when this team was in that freaking drought, right? To win in '78 and then not to win another one until 1996. I mean, that had to been torture for a lot of fans. I mean, right now, this current Yankees state, I mean, that they're at this moment. I mean, if they don't win this year, that'll be 15 years. So they're kind of in that drought right now. I do. I remember the 1998 Yankees like it was yesterday, dude.
Great. I'm reading a book by Jack Curry on the '98 Yankees.
Oh, I'm sure. You'll have to let me know how that book is when you're done with it. So,
I'll send it over to you. You can read it after me.
Oh, you send it over? That's funny. All the way from Scotland. That'll be awesome. But yeah, man. Really, there's not a lot to say, man. Again, they should have. Yesterday's game really was the main thing I wanted to get into, and what the next two games against the White Sox. I mean, they got to win these next two games. I mean, there's no ifs, thens, or buts to it.
Yeah, I mean, if they lose this series and cancel the season.
Cancel the season. And Izzy says, I watched a lot of bad Yankees baseball. I remember WPIX growing up.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I remember WPIX. I remember watching Yankees games.
I remember that too. Oh my God.
Yeah. But it looks like I'm getting some nostalgia. Folks are feeling a little nostalgic. They're talking about.
So am I. I'm getting nostalgic. The good old days.
Yeah. But because August, right? For the month of August for the New York Yankees. I mean, the schedule was supposed to be a little bit easier on paper, right? And I say that because it's like Yankees they played a very hard. Their schedule up until August was been hard. Like they've been playing some hard teams, but it's like you look at it on paper again. They started off the month with Toronto. They got 2 out of 3 there. They got beat by the freaking Angels, and then they won 2 out of 3 against Texas, even though that Sunday game was a freaking holy crap. Oh my God. And then, they're in the White Sox series. So they lost yesterday's game. So, they got to win the next 2. No excuses. I don't care. Then they have the series coming up against Detroit, this weekend. So, and Detroit's, they're a better team than the White Sox. That's
we're a better team than the White Sox.
What was that?
We're a better team than the White. The two of us can beat the White Sox, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, and then after Detroit, man, Cleveland goes to Yankee Stadium, and Cleveland's good. They've been playing some good baseball. I wasn't really sure how they were going to look this year, but they've looked excellent. And then, the Rockies coming to town after that. I mean, they got to beat a team like the Rockies. The Rockies are a piss poor team in the NL West. Then, they go out and play the Nationals next, and then the St. Louis Cardinals. So, I mean, these are games that, I feel like, again, on paper, the most challenging team on paper is going to be the Guardians.
Of course. But, I mean,
probably St. Louis. I'll say St. Louis.
Before we played yesterday, we looked at this White Sox series going, well, this is a guaranteed sweep. We should be scoring 10 runs on these guys.
Yeah.
And it hasn't transpired. So That's the thing about this season and baseball in general. Anybody could beat anybody. But I do want to say, Jared, I'm sorry for your loss, and you lost your grandmother last year.
Sorry, bud.
Prayers up to you, man. I lost my grandmother last year too. It's very, very difficult.
And Ken says Cleveland got swept by the Diamondbacks and have been in a tailoring. I mean, yeah, and they got swept by the Diamondbacks. That's something. I mean, this season is weird when you look at the entire baseball season, not just the Yankees. I mean, you look at all of baseball. It's been a weird season because I was looking at all the standings yesterday. No team has a winning percentage over 600.
Wow.
I mean, I'll pull it up real quick. It was a little shocking to me because you would think teams like the Yankees, the Orioles, the Dodgers, you'd think they would have a winning percentage over 600, but you look at the Orioles, they have a winning percentage of 590, Yankees 583, the Guardians 578, the Astros 530. National League side, the Dodgers 585. Phillies, same thing. They have the same record as the Dodgers at 69 and 40.
The Dodgers should be running away with it, man.
My point. They should be running away. They spent over $1 billion in freaking contracts, man. So they should be well over the 600 mark, in my opinion. But shout out to my guy Gusto. What's up, Gusto? Again,
what was that move with trading for Rosario just to cut him, just to bring back Mookie Betts off IL?
Say that again.
What about that weird move with Rosario and the Dodgers?
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know. Rosario, that was a guy that the Yankees were interested in signing in the offseason, but he wanted to get he didn't want to be a bench guy. He wanted to be full time. But he got picked up by the Rays. The Rays traded him back to the Dodgers because he was a Dodger last season. And the Dodgers cut him.
Great this year.
What was that?
He's been great this year.
Yeah, I know. And, some fans, we were talking about it yesterday in the pregame. Should the Yankees go after him?
Yes.
You're saying yes?
Absolutely.
So if you're saying yes, then Donald, who gets moved? Who gets sent down or who gets
points out Rosario has a 304 batting average and I believe a 750 OPS. Solid defense. Well, it can't hurt having more talent. That's for sure, especially someone that can actually hit. So who would I move? Well, to be honest, I would have moved on from Gleyber Torres.
Well,
far longer than he still would be here. But yeah, I would have gone rid of Gleyber Torres. But I mean, another option off the bench that could be a super utility guy. He could play every day. We don't even know what's going on with Jazz Chisholm right now. Is he going to be okay? He's going in for tests. I believe it came back negative, but maybe he missed.
The test came back negative, but we'll see. I mean, just because the test came back negative, he could. He might sit out a few games, so that wouldn't surprise me. And our friend here, he's from the Tampa Bay area. He's all Tampa Bay. There was a comment that he had. I saw a comment from him. I thought he said something about Rosario. That he was surprised that they traded him. Oh, here we go. Surprised that the Rays traded Rosario. You and me both, man. Can you tell me? Can you tell us why? Maybe. What do you think? You're the Rays fan, bro.
I'm surprised that the Rays did a lot of things. Why they get rid of Peraza situation and a ton of talent. The fact they were on the verge of competing.
The Rays. I don't know. I had a feeling they were going to be sellers because the thing with the Rays is that they know how to develop guys. They develop these guys and then they could also trade them because they have like guys in the pipeline. I mean, they do this all the time. I am surprised that the Rays have not won a World Series yet. I really am because they've had some great teams and I'm like, okay, these guys could do it. but they don't show up to they get to the dance, but they just don't they don't go all the way. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But Mr. Barros is asking, he had a question for us.
All right.
So yeah, his question was, "Hey guys, do you think the Yankees are going to win a World Series this year? The way they're playing, in my opinion, there's no way after last night." I understand. I don't know. I wish I had a crystal ball that would tell me, "Hey, these guys are going to win a World Series." At this point, I would say that everything is up in the air. If you ask me right now who I think is going to win the World Series, I couldn't tell you. I don't know, because last season, I said that it was going to, the World Series was going to be between the Orioles and the Braves. Clearly wasn't. It was 2 wild card teams that made it to the World Series. So, I couldn't tell you.
My opinion, Mr. Barris, is probably not.
Yeah.
But we have as good a chance as any team in the American League to get to the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, form isn't just like a light switch. It doesn't just turn on and off whenever they want it. This thing, we've been playing bad baseball for a 7-week stretch now, and it's continuing. I thought we were maybe out of it as of last week, but no, we're right back in it again because of losing the series to the Angels, who are one of the worst teams in baseball. And now you lose again yesterday to the worst team in baseball. I just think that this team isn't playing hard enough. And I don't know if they have a bullpen. They don't have a closer. You need a closer if you're going to win a World Series. We don't have a closer. So I'll be honest, I'd be surprised. I hope so, but I'd be surprised. What I will say is we have more than enough talent to go and win it. More than enough. With our eyes closed, we could get to the World Series if we played hard enough. But
right. Yeah. I mean, no, you're not wrong. And real quick, I wanted to say what's up to the Back It Up Binge podcast. This is an Orioles channel here.
An Orioles fan.
Yeah. He's always tuning in. We go back and forth about Orioles, Yankees. I mean, it's all friendly. So
how does he feel about this Orioles team? Because lately they should be running away with this right now.
I agree. I have said this to him many times, that I thought the Orioles by now, based on how the Yankees have been playing over the last month and a half, that these guys, that the Orioles should have been up like 4 or 5 games in the division. Yeah, I am so surprised that we're only a half a game behind first place. I mean, Back It Up Binge, man, talk to us, bro. Like, what do you think of him? This is my boy here, Donald, too. So he's got his own channel, co-host with 2 other guys. It's called Pinstripe Chronicles. So give him a go check him out. And he says Orioles will not win. Rod is hurt. No starting pitching past Burns and Eflin, and we have Kimbrel. Well, they have Kimbrel. He was telling me about Kimbrel the other day. He was complaining about Kimbrel, just kind of like how fans complain about Clay Holmes.
Damn, it's the worst of the worst.
Yeah. It'll be interesting with Clay Holmes, because he's going to be a free agent after this year. And
no, I can't. No, don't extend him. No, keep him far away from me.
Well, I mean, what if they sign him? What if they sign him back and put him in a setup role, or put him as a 6th, 7th inning guy?
That would be the smart thing to do, but they don't do that because they've been locked in on Clay Holmes as a closer for a while now, and they're kind of they're getting a bit of a bunker mentality regarding that. They're just stuck in their ways about that, and I don't see that changing. So I don't trust them to make that decision. So I would let them go because I just don't trust them to make that decision.
For sure. And shout out to Erica Garcia. She says poverty franchise. What's up, Erica? How you doing?
Salute.
Salute to Erica. But yeah, it is a poverty franchise. And Back It Up.
No, let Holmes go.
Yeah. And Back It Up Binge is asking, why not switch Judge and Soto in the lineup? Bring in righty to face Judge. If you pitch to him, then Soto faces that righty. Doubt they will walk Soto as much as Judge.
That's what I've been saying on the pinstripe.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of folks have been saying that, but I just feel like wherever I just feel like Judge is going to get walked regardless. You could put him at that number 2 spot, but I feel like they're gonna walk him, dude, because opposing pitchers are afraid to pitch to Judge. They don't want to pitch to Judge. That's why there's so many intentional walks towards him. That's why they're always pitching away from him, because they're afraid to get smacked. So
Yeah,
I just
but
think that
I mean, I think that they wouldn't do it nearly as often if you go Juan Soto coming up
yeah.
after Aaron Judge.
But and I agree with Erica here. There's no reason to switch them. It's been successful all season. It doesn't matter. They will find a way around it. I mean, she's not wrong. I mean, opposing teams they do make their adjustments. This was something that I mentioned one time on one of my shows, is that I think a lot of teams have seen what the Yankees have been doing, and they once they play against the Yankees, other teams make their adjustments. They adjust to their playing style. They're like, okay, this is how we're going to attack. So I feel like that's what's been happening, and I feel like because things are working for the Yankees, they're not necessarily making the best with adjustments. So this is where I think that's where they need to improve, is make their adjustments so they can play better, perform better, because other teams are definitely making their adjustments when it comes to playing against the Yankees. And no, Rodney, I didn't steal Erica's move. Stop that noise right now. But he's just trying to start things. And will the league walk Ohtani as much as Judge? I don't know. I don't think so.
FT's got a point here. Pitchers are not going to be afraid to pitch to Stan, even with Soto and Judge on base. Stan will occasionally hit a mistake to kingdom come, but he will get himself out most of the time. I mean, he stands at a great year, but he does have a hole in the swing, and it's that I would say that outside corner away. You could throw sliders to him low and away, and he tends to go fishing a lot, as you saw yesterday. But Juan Soto doesn't have any holes in the swing. He's one of the most perfect offensive machines I've ever seen. So I think it would make sense. I think Judge will still get his, and I think Soto will get his. In fact, he'll get more because RBI opportunities. So I don't see a downside, but at least giving it a trial. I think it would be worth giving it a week or two and see if it changes anything, because you can't have this situation where Judge is constantly getting intentionally walked.
Yeah, I don't know, man, because it's the thing is, fans are already complaining about the lineups being flipped around so much. So if the whole Judge Soto thing switches, I mean, granted, you could give it a shot. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work. Okay, fine, go back to the 2-3 thing with Soto and Judge. But I mean, personally, I would leave it alone. But that's just me. I would leave it alone. Like, just don't mess with it, because it's been working with those two. It has been working. I just don't know. Is it going to make any sort of improvement, a significant improvement, if you switch the two? That's the thing, because it's like those two guys are hitting. There's other guys in the lineup. They're showing up. Some guys are showing up, like Austin Wells. He's been showing up. He's been hitting a lot better. And yeah, Erica, I'll send you the link right now. You can jump on with us. I don't know have you ever met Erica or seen Erica?
No.
No. Okay. I'm gonna send her the link. Actually, she's gonna jump on with us. She's got a good baseball mind. So definitely tells it like it is, for sure. So, and she's got one of the best strikeout poses you'll ever see, because whenever we do play-by-play, she jumped on and she does her little Hulk Hogan strikeout poses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Not the Eric Burden like that.
I do that one just to make people laugh. we need a little bit of entertainment around here. So, but yeah,
Wells has been awesome. He is.
Yeah, Wells has been awesome. I mean, he's been that threat right after Aaron Judge. And they should have just kept Wells at 4 and Stanton at 5. I agree with Rob here. So they should have they should have kept Wells at 4. I don't know why they didn't, but maybe they think that with him with what's his face being back, Stanton being back, that he was going to just be that threat after Judge, which he's still a threat. I mean, don't get me wrong, Stanton's a threat. I mean, he's one swing in that bat, you give him the right pitch, that ball's gone. But
yeah,
they should have kept him at number 5 though.
Jared, Wells batting cleanup is better. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I like Wells at the number 4 spot. So what are your thoughts, man?
How good is Wells? I've been so impressed by him. He's one of the best young catchers in the game now.
He's good. He's definitely good. I mean, he's improved. At the you give him playing time. I mean, the guy. You give him consistent playing time. You see what he does. Am I saying? Do I think that he's got like an amazing glove defensively? Not amazing, but he's gotten a little bit better.
Yes, if you look at his metrics, they're actually all very, very good.
Yeah. But you look at the last. Let's look at the last 7 games. I got it pulled up here on MLB.com. The last 7 games. I mean, 26 at bats, 8 hits, 5 RBIs. He struck out 5 times, walked 3, but he has a batting average of 308. So I mean, he's been hitting. He's been getting on base.
It says he's got a 369 batting average over the last 16, something in that range.
369 last 16 games. It says last 15, he's got a batting average of 339.
That's phenomenal, man.
It is phenomenal. Those are fantastic numbers. Those are fantastic numbers, man. So yeah, I have no complaints about Austin Wells. I knew he was going to be good. He just, you just needed to give him a lot of playing time. He needed more consistent playing time. It's nothing against Trevino. I like Trevino. I have no problems with Trevino, but you got to play the guy that's going to be better, and that's going to be the future of this team. And I think Austin Wells is going to be the future.
Do you trust that they're going to play Wells as often when Trevino's here?
You would hope. The only thing I do know is that when Trevino gets back, if they do activate him, they're going to send Narvaez back down to the minors.
It's a shame because I quite like Narvaez.
I like Narvaez too, but I think Narvaez will be the backup catcher going into 2025.
Oh, I think so too.
I
don't want to see any more Trevino. Like, I'm done with him, man. His arm is a joke.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. He's got the worst pop time in the league, and this team has been so much better without him.
Yeah, I agree. You're not wrong. And Ray, the latest on Jazz Chisholm, X-rays came back negative, but I'm sure they're going to be doing more testing. I'm sure we'll hear something. But it sounded like he was in pretty good spirits after the game. So it sounded like it wasn't, it sounded like it wasn't anything too serious. But then again, we don't know, right? We'll find out soon enough. I want to see if there's anything out there put out by like Brian Hogue or something, And I got Erica in the back waiting. You good to go? Let's go. Welcome to the show, Erica.
What's up?
This is Donald here.
How are you?
Chronicles.
Hey, Donald. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So I don't know how much of the conversation you caught, what you were listening to, but let it all out, girl. Let it all out. Tell us what you're thinking.
Would it be a 2024 season without a loss to the White Sox? It just felt obvious. Everybody I was talking to was upset and disappointed, but at the same time, not surprised. You know what I mean? Like, I got so many texts yesterday, and I had a softball game, so I got home in the 4th inning. But I was listening on the radio, and they're like, they've left a sea of runners in scoring position. And I looked it up. I'm like, 1 for 11 in the 4th inning? Like, what are we doing? But to me, I mean, games like that happen offensively. The pitching is we're in such bad shape pitching wise. Um, I don't that I know I get it's like an impulsive reaction to just be like, this team's not World Series caliber. They're just not built for it. But the saving grace is there's no team that's running away with it. So there's just like, just get hot at the right time. Like all that matters right now is make the playoffs and then get hot in the playoffs and somehow make it happen. Because to me, there's no team that's really scary right now. You look at all the standings and you're just like, oh, nobody's really running away with it. So I don't know. I'm just very, very nervous about the pitching staff. The offense, they've looked good recently, right? You know, they're gonna have bad games. Like, this offense just happens to be inconsistent. Um, hopefully the Chisholm injury isn't too crazy, because at that point, then the trade deadline is a complete wash. Because then you lose Chisholm, and then you got the one guy, De Los Santos, that is doesn't look good, and then Mark Leiter is looking a little shaky. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I didn't catch a lot. When I asked if I could join the stream, I got a phone call for work, so I don't know what you guys were talking about in between.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Well, you talked about the pitching, and I don't know if you heard the stats that I gave to Donald earlier, but I could tell you those stats if you want, if you didn't hear
Yeah,
it.
let me know. Break them down.
Okay, get
Give me
ready.
white hairs and like gray hairs.
Yeah, well, I already got some in mind, so we're good. But at least you're sitting down, so you won't have to fall over. But yo, so check this out. Pitching, right? We were talking about the pitching. So in the last 6 games, Yankees have allowed 45 runs in the last 6 games, 7+ runs in 5 games. 9 extra base hits allowed yesterday. That's been the second most hits allowed in the series. Last time that much has happened or more was June 20th against the Orioles. And this is the 4th time this season where they have allowed 12+ runs. And they've allowed 8+ hits in 16 straight games.
You know what? That's crazy, because I was looking at run differential yesterday, and the gap has it's gotten smaller. But I remember maybe not too long ago, the run differential wasn't like the Yankees were above and beyond everybody. You know what I'm saying? So it says a lot to what our pitching was versus what it's become.
Yeah.
It's just fallen off a cliff, it feels like. And what's crazy is, like, I have all the confidence in the world with Garrett Cole because of the past, what we've seen and what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
But even he's a question mark right now, just because he still feels like it's May. It's May for him. It's not August, or it's June for him. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I mean, Clark Schmidt is gonna come back in September, but is he even gonna be a starter? They're gonna limit his inning. Like, I don't know what to look forward to when it comes to this pitching staff right now.
Yeah, the pitching right now is full of question marks. It's full of question marks, no doubt. I mean, they've been giving up a lot of runs, a lot of hits, and it's crazy because offensively they score a lot of runs. But it seems like the two kind of cancel each other out almost. It's crazy. It's like they kill it offensively, they do, but then when it comes to the pitching, it's like it's not as great as it should be. The problem, the thing is, the pitching staff was fantastic at the beginning of the year. I mean, they were lights out. I mean, without Garrett Cole, but now all of a sudden, it's like I don't know what happened to this pitching staff, because the starting rotation was lights out, and so was the bullpen. So I don't know. What are your thoughts, Erica?
I mean, I feel, and I just have such short, bad memory, but the
You're
beginning
good.
of the season, though the starting pitching was good, we did really overuse our bullpen.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just catching up to them. It's a long season, and for you to do that for what, 6 months, or 5 months, whatever, it's hard. So maybe it's just fatigue. Same as how we saw with Stroman. But it's all questions that we had from the beginning. And Matt Blake is good, but there's only so much that he can do. I don't know. He's never pitched this much. Garrett Cole,
Yeah.
he's not in midseason form, or he's not in the end of this. I mean, we're close to the end, closer to the end of the season than midseason. But
Erica, did you agree with pulling him after 90 pitches in that last start, or did you think that it was a weird move by Ben?
I think that's a hindsight 2020 kind of thing. I think that's your ace. You're paying him a lot of money. Why is he coming into an inning throwing 2 pitches and then getting pulled at that point? Why don't you just have the bullpen start the inning? At the same time, if something happens to him on the 95th pitch and you're just like, why the hell are we rushing this guy back? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. You don't expect Luke Weaver to have that kind of outing, right? It was Weaver that kind of blew it.
Yeah.
So I don't expect Luke Weaver all season has shown that he's been probably our best arm out of the bullpen. So for him to have a game like that sucks. It sucks that it happened in that game. But I don't I personally will never understand innings limits. Especially in a guy like Garrett Cole that he's known to just go the distance. But listen, better safe than sorry. Like I said, hindsight 2020, I was pissed off after Luke Weaver gave up basically all those runs, but if he didn't, we would have been like, oh, it's fine. So it's one of those situations. It's weird.
I just didn't. After 2 pitches, it didn't make any sense.
That's where I'm just like,
If
all
it
right,
was
if
a
you're
hard
gonna
and
pull it after
fast
2 pitches,
90,
it's stupid. Yes.
if it was a hard and fast 90, then why did he come out?
Yeah, because what if that at bat went longer? What if it was a 10-pitch at bat? You know what I mean? It's
Exactly.
just like, yeah, that's where it's analytics and all that shit is stupid. But whatever.
That's why you need
That
to
was the
manage
game plan.
what's going on in front of you. I think Cole should have gone one more batter. You got that bonus out after just 2 pitches. Great. And that means he probably could get you another one. I would have done that, and it probably would have stood us in good stead. But as you say, Weaver's been very reliable all year, but you're kind of asking for trouble a little bit because we've been overusing him because we don't have anyone in the bullpen that we trust.
Yeah. They definitely overthought that whole situation. That's the problem with baseball now, and with Boone, it's just like it feels like he overthinks so much, and then it comes and bites you in the ass. So I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on this. I've cursed twice already. I'll put it into the swear jar. My bad.
Yeah, just Venmo me some money. You're good.
All right. I'm good.
Yeah, no, the thing with analytics, obviously I'm not a fan of analytics, but it's here to stay. But other teams, the thing is, other teams do a good job of using it.
Steph.
It's just I think when it comes to the Yankees, I think at times they're a little over reliant on it. So there's a time and place to use analytics, but I think sometimes they're using too much of it. Would you all agree with that?
Yeah, but it's crazy because in the beginning of the year we were like, oh, it feels like they're letting Boone have a feel for his team rather than going to the book. You know what I'm saying? And looking up stats. Like, it's just weird how things change on a dime. At the beginning we're just like, yeah, it looks like he's able to have more control and go with his gut with things. And then now in August we're like, oh no, they're going back to how they used to run stuff.
It's weird though, because this seems to happen like almost like every year over the last 3 or 4 years, where the first half of the year there's a consistent lineup and there's consistent decisions, and then almost post All-Star break, it's like someone's gone in his ear, and now we're getting lineups left, right, and center of all kinds of crazy varieties and decisions that don't necessarily make a whole lot of sense. It's been going on for years now, and then they go on these massive losing streaks for 3 or 4 straight years. So I think there is maybe an element of that maybe like the analytics team are like, oh well, we've got this cushion now in the division. Now we can, go back to what we want. How we wanted things in the past.
I will say a lot of those changes happen after injuries. The Yankees have been plagued by injuries year after year, and it feels like they have to kind of move pieces around to see what works when a guy like Judge is not in the lineup, or a guy like Stanton, or whoever. Especially this season, they've dealt with a lot of injuries. My biggest frustration is that when they put Torres in the leadoff spot over Verdugo, like I don't know why they keep switching that out depending on the game. Just like leave Verdugo in the one spot. It's just I don't know why they have to go at one game it's this, one game it's that, one game it's this one. So that's been annoying me, but
Yeah, that situational stuff is nonsense. The Yankees can't hit lefties. They're one of the worst teams in the league against lefty pitching. They
I
just
think
can't
they
hit
have like a record
pitching.
of like 12-16, 12-17 against lefties. Their
Facts.
record against lefties is terrible.
It's
But
ridiculous.
yeah,
So it doesn't really make much sense to be like moving the line up and down and all that stuff against lefties. We can't hit them anyway, so we might as well have our best lineup.
Yeah.
Through that.
I mean,
No
and look at Austin Wells. Like he's been fantastic, and he was one of those guys that, he was sat when it was a lefty because they wanted to put Trevino's righty bat. But now look, you're just like, bro, this guy. You give a major league player consistent at bats, no matter if it's against a lefty or a righty, and let them see what they got. Especially in Yankee Stadium, you literally have lefties for the short porch, and then you sit them when it's a left-handed pitcher. So stupid.
Didn't Boone pinch hit Wells for Trevino at one point just because of a situational matchup? That happened recently.
But he like picks and chooses that. There's days that he'll do it, and then there's days I'm screaming at the television. I'm like, why is Trevino in? Like, why isn't Wells up to bat here? And it's just I'm like, what is it? What are they looking at?
And then they made Grisham situational, where he'd only face righties, even though his OPS is actually much better against lefties.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, and Mr. Barrows pulls up here. Torres has been on a 9-game hitting streak. Verdugo has been inconsistent. I mean, as far as the leadoff spot thing goes, I'd rather put Verdugo there personally. I'm with the both of you on this. Just because, if Verdugo gets out, at least it's only one out. Where if he doesn't go, if he's not up, if he's not batting, if he's batting fourth or fifth, I mean, it's almost like he's going to ground into a double play. So I like the idea of Verdugo leading off and the shuffling of the lineup. Yeah, again, I agree with what Erica was saying because Giancarlo got hurt. Then, they had other guys that got hurt. So then they were like testing, especially with Ben Rice, they were putting him at number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7. They put him at leadoff at one point. Like maybe he does better here. So there was a little bit of shuffling there because they didn't really have a lot of options as far as players go in the lineup and players being hurt. So they were experimenting, but I do like Verdugo at the leadoff spot.
I actually personally agree with Ray Klickner here. I'd bet Jazz leadoff.
Yeah,
best players, top 5 in the lineup. That's my thinking because statistically, you want to get analytical. The first 2 guys in the order get the most plate appearances.
But we need a threat.
Do you want Verdugo, who's a below average hitter, to be getting that amount of plate appearances? My answer would be no. Even though he's been hitting a little better lately, and I'm a big Verdugo fan. I think he's a good dude, and I think he's a great left fielder defensively. But offensively, he's below average, and I wouldn't have him at the top of the order. I would get Jazz Chisholm in there. You saw yesterday what that explosive speed does. He created a run from an infield single. From second base just purely with his speed. I'd like to have that at the top of the order. He's got power and he's got speed. I know he strikes out far too much. Yes, that's an issue. But to be honest, so did Alfonso Soriano, and Alfonso Soriano was a really good leadoff hitter for the Yankees. So I would do it. I would definitely give Jazz a leadoff.
I think so. When Jazz first came here, I was like, "Oh, he's a shoo-in. This is our leadoff guy." And then you saw how much he lengthened the lineup, and you were like, I kind of like him in the middle of the order.
Yes.
That's where like I'm like fighting with myself. I think it would be great for Jazz to be there, but then you're gonna pop in. I mean, Glaber isn't struggling. Glaber is on a 9-game hitting streak. He has looked good in the last. I want to say even 30 games. I think he's batting like 290 or 280. But that's where I struggle because then you have a Verdugo and Glaber back to back, and you're like, all right, well now you can have 2 guys that are struggling right there, and you kind of like kill the end. And then if Volpe's struggling, like then you got Verdugo, Glaber, Volpe, and it's just like that's just 3 automatic outs. I don't know, but I agree. When Jazz first got traded, when I first heard it, I was like, there's your situation, like your leadoff solution. But now that you see him in the middle of the lineup, I'm like, I kind of like this. So I don't know. We'll see whenever they decide to do that, because they will. They'll shuffle
Lou's
his
got a point. They put Volpe there, but never let him run. But to be honest, Volpe's at the bottom of the order now, and he doesn't run anyway. So maybe it's a Volpe issue rather than a team issue.
Yeah, and I was gonna to piggyback off of what Erica was saying. I hear what Ray is talking about. I mean, it'd be awesome to have Jazz Chisholm at the leadoff spot, but I like him better at that number 5, number 6 spot, because you need that threat in the bottom of the lineup, which the Yankees didn't have there for a while. I mean, look at who they had prior to getting Jazz Chisholm. I mean, you had the Jahmai Jones and the J.D. Davises of the world. I mean, that's not what you want to see in that lineup. So I do like Jazz Chisholm at that number 5, number 6 spot, because you have some other guys after Judge. So, you have Wells, you have Giancarlo Stanton, you have Jazz Chisholm. You have 3 guys that present a threat. And then you also have Volpe down there in the lineup too. So that bottom of the lineup looks a lot better than where it was before. Because what was the one thing that a lot of us fans were complaining about after Judge? The rest of the lineup was no threat. So, Verdugo, unfortunately, he wasn't that threat. Neither was Gleyber Torres. So, but the fact that you have Chisholm, Wells, Volpe that can be a threat after Judge, I mean, and also Giancarlo Stanton, that lineup looks a lot more attractive than where it was before. So that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I do understand where Ray's coming from with the leadoff thing, but maybe that's something that they do going into next season. But right now, I like how this lineup is constructed with Jazz Chisholm being where he is. So that's where I'm at. But
yeah, I also think that I think they put Stanton in the cleanup spot yesterday. That needs to be Wells' spot. It needs to be leadoff, Soto, Judge, Wells, Stanton. Like, that's what it needs to be. I don't think it should be Stanton, Wells, in my opinion, but
I agree with that.
That's just me. Wells has a little bit more speed too. I just like that. I don't like having Judge, Stanton back to back. It just doesn't make sense to me. But I don't know if they were just messing with it or what. But he's been obviously successful in the four spot, and then they just keep moving around.
There's a double play risk there.
That's what I mean. Like, I like that Wells has more speed.
Yeah.
So if he does hit a little dribbler, he could run it out where Stanton's halfway down the line. Like, he's not gonna push it. So
yeah, you need a guy that could run too. I mean, unfortunately for Stanton, the man, I mean, he could run, but he's not fast, right? So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, again, Ray is talking about it here. He's like, getting someone on base in front of Soto and Judge seems more important at this point. But he says, I get the length of the lineup. Yeah, because I'm more worried about length. I want to get length out of the lineup, because I don't want there to be like easy outs. Because some of these innings with the Yankees, it's usually like just an easy 1, 2, 3. It's like they go up to bat, and then it's like they don't make the opposing pitcher work. And that was something that's another thing that they kind of got away from, right? I mean, they in the beginning of the season, they were making opposing pitchers work, where they're not doing that right now. So it seems like they're just going up there. Sometimes they're just swinging at the first pitch. I'm just like, man, like take the first pitch, like make the opposing pitcher work. Other teams are doing that, to our pitching. It's just pains me to see that. So, what do you all think about that?
I mean, I still think that they're working counts. I think it's always the same guys working the counts, and then they don't score runs afterwards. I mean, they worked how many walks yesterday, and they got nothing out of it. So I mean, again, I don't know. This lineup will have its good days, and as you saw yesterday, has its bad days. I just can't deal with them losing a series to the White Sox, and it just feels inevitable. It feels like it's gonna happen, and we're gonna, like, everything's gonna be burning down. The radio stations here. We're just gonna be talking about how this team, like, everyone needed to be fired or whatever, and we didn't make the right trades at the deadline. But really, to me, it just comes down to the pitching, and Nestor Cortez is pitching today, and I just don't have any faith. So
I understand. No, I understand.
Um,
But Donald, Oh,
Cortez is 1-4 with a 7.50 ERA. Yeah, I'm not overly confident. That's his last 7 starts, so I'm not overly confident with Cortez. But I agree with that. The length of the lineup, I do get that aspect. But it might be something to revisit. If they're not willing to do it this year, then maybe might something they want to revisit in the offseason. Going into next year, whoever
They
the
had
manager.
9 walks yesterday.
That's
yeah.
insane.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like they are, working counts and stuff. It just feels like that doesn't matter if they can't score those runs. They don't make them
That's right.
pay.
If they're putting traffic on, but they can't drive them in, what's the point? But that's been an issue with the Yankees this year. They do leave a lot of guys on base.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Brian Hoke put out this tweet last night. He said that the Yankees had 11 walks, 9 hits, and scored 2 runs. They were 2 for 18 with runners in scoring position, leaving 16 men on.
2 for 18.
That's embarrassing. That's
Super
honestly
embarrassing.
pathetic. That can't happen, especially against a team like the White Sox. Like, other series, I'm just like, hey, look, I'll be satisfied with 2 out of 3. But I'm like, this series, a sweep needs to happen. I mean, it's the worst team in baseball, man. It's just to win 2 out of 3 against the White Sox. It's like, look, I'll take it, but at the same time, a sweep to me is more acceptable than taking 2 out of 3. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. So we
I
can't go
just
back.
hope that
Yeah,
they
go
have
ahead.
short-term memory and they're able to put this one behind them and they don't press.
Yeah.
But like losses like that just can't happen. At the end of the day, it's you're playing a major league team, and it can happen. It's not it's not impossible,
Mm-hmm.
but it is embarrassing. Like, and I just hope that they're able to turn the page and just mash the next 2 days because eventually, what this weekend we have the Guardians. Is it this weekend
The Tigers
or
this
that's?
weekend.
Oh, it's the Tiger. Okay, I'm sorry.
Guardians are next week. They're gonna go to Yankee Stadium for that, which that is gonna be a challenging series right there because the Guardians are on fire right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I looked at the standings yesterday, and I think the Yankees still have the best record in the AL.
Yeah,
Or they're I'm sorry, not the best, but they're like 1, 2, 3. It's
Yeah, they're
them,
right
Rose,
there.
and Guardians.
Somehow.
somehow. Yeah, well, they have a 70-50 record. They have a better record than the Guardians. So yeah, they do have the best record in the AL. They just have 2 more losses than the Orioles do. So
Yes.
really, so I guess you could say the Orioles have the best record in the AL, but that's due to them having 2 less losses. So really, the Yankees have 1 more win than the Orioles. So I guess however you want to measure that.
I agree with Nosebleed here. It doesn't seem like our pitchers have a put-away pitch. I mean, some of them do. Obviously, Heel does, Cole does, Rodon does to some extent. But after that, right through the bullpen, no. I would say Cousins' slider is a put-away pitch. But Holmes doesn't miss any bats whatsoever.
Leiter
And
has that splitter.
yeah,
that
I like
splitter.
Leiter's splitter.
And when Clay Holmes is on, his sinker is pretty damn good.
Yeah, but it doesn't miss bats though.
Yeah.
His slider misses bats, but he only trusts 2 pitches, and that's his slider and his sinker. He doesn't trust his fastball, so he doesn't set batters up with that fastball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he threw 50 pitches that last outing, and he didn't throw 1 fastball. It was all sinkers and sliders.
Yeah. Well, as far as records go, the other thing I mentioned earlier too, Erica, I don't know if you heard it, but like there is no team right now in Major League Baseball with a winning percentage of 600.
Yeah.
They're all, not even the Dodgers.
The Dodgers were, I mean, they finally got Mookie Betts back, so let's see what happens. But they were in a tailspin. Like that was they were falling off. You kept hearing about Ohtani, and then you actually look at the score at the end of the game and you're like, but they lost. Like I don't understand. Yeah, no team. I mean, I think the Guardians went on a slide in July. The Orioles are under 500 in the last 30 games.
Yeah.
The Dodgers, obviously. The Astros. We were making fun of them the first month of the season, and I knew this was gonna happen. They're gonna get hot at the right time. The
Yeah.
Astros, they have the experience.
It always happens.
This they're in an easy division now, and or they've always been like whatever. The division right now is it's just so easy.
Yeah.
And they're gonna go into the playoffs, and they're gonna. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen again.
Well,
Always
the,
happen.
the
Always.
Astros and the Red Sox are two teams you never count out. I mean, it's just those two teams always they always find a way. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. So, and the AL East is no joke. I mean, you never know what's going to happen in that division. I mean, Orioles are over 500 winning percentage. So are the Yankees. So are the Red Sox. I mean, the Rays are right at 500. So you got 4 teams that are 500 or more. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to think that. So, we'll see what happens. But I'll probably be wrapping up here in the next few minutes. But if you all are down, if you all are available later, I'm going live for the pregame. So if you all want to jump on with me on that, cool. I do a pregame, so just
What time does your pregame start?
5:00 East Coast time, so Eastern Standard Time. So
right.
Yeah, if you want to, I do pregames almost every day, So cool. Yeah, we talk about lineup, we talk about predictions, talk food. So
food. That's something I'm gonna go get some right now. So anyway, hit the like button for my guy NFE. Erica, really nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
See you again soon. And thanks, guys. Everyone showed up and showed out. Over 70 people in the chat. You guys have been absolutely killing it. So hit the sub button to the Pinstripe Chronicles with my co-host Rob and Tats. We're doing a show tomorrow, so we'll be breaking this disaster down. Anyway, thanks, guys. See you next time.
All right, thanks for jumping on, bro. We'll see you next time. Yep. And Erica, your final thoughts?
I mean, you have the pregame later. I don't know if I'll be able to join it because I have softball at 6:30. But throw me the link. I know you threw me the link the past couple of days. I've been busy. Yesterday I had softball too. So,
You're good.
But yeah, I mean, last thoughts is like I said, just get this one out the way, and hopefully they can just come back and win today and win the series. But I'm sure we'll talk more about that on the pregame. So we'll see what the lineup is. Hopefully Chisholm's in it.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll send you the link if you're able to jump on. Great. But during the play-by-play, I was trying to fill in for you and doing the strikeout poses. I didn't do the Hulk Hogan or this thing, but I was doing my own thing here. That's about it. But I like the Hulk Hogan one for you because I'm like, all right, that's all, Erica. So
I got you. It'll make a comeback once I'm not busy.
But we need to see. Hopefully, I don't know when I'll do the next play-by-play, but hopefully you can jump on and do your Hulk Hogan poses, and that'll be awesome. So because I think folks in the chat enjoy that. So
yeah, it's fun. Sometimes I'm like, if somebody. I have big windows, like a sliding door, and I'm like, somebody's watching from the outside. Like, what the hell is this girl doing? I'm like, you don't understand.
Yeah. No, I didn't do the Hulk Hogan move. I just did the strikeout pose there, Ronnie. Stop it.
And if you did, it's okay.
Well, see, okay, I got permission. All right. So Erica's not going to kill me later. All right. We're good. See?
Right.
See, she's got no problems with me. Yeah, see, in Nosebleed section, saying the same thing. We missed Erica's strikeout call. See, girl, you're loved on here.
I gotta I gotta make it up to you guys. I'm sorry.
There you go. All right, folks. But I am going to close it out here. Erica, thank you so much for jumping on. I always love having you on. You know this. So anytime you shoot me a message, it's always a yes. You know what I mean? Unless if I'm like close to wrapping it up, but you're always welcome on, as always. So shout out to you, and shout out to Donald from Pinstripe Chronicles podcast. Make sure y'all subscribe to their channel. They do a great job over there. They go live on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. So they greatly appreciate it. And Ronnie Green, she does do the strikeout poses way better than I do. I am not going to argue that. That is a fact. So, but folks, Join me for the pregame later. I will go live. Make sure on your way out, if you haven't, hit that like, hit that subscribe, share this channel out. Let's get this channel to 900 subscribers. And enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll see you all later. Have a good one. Peace.